Hey everyone, welcome back to Tap Tempo with me, Matt Lang. This past weekend was a bit of a trip. I was in Toronto for 3 days. We were doing the Mousetrap 10-year anniversary party. Big show, a lot of lights, a lot of people, a lot of artists. For the most part, it was a great experience. But for those of you who were in the crowd and witnessed the 10-minute gap of silence with no music in between the previous artist and when Atlas and I were supposed to play together, I want to go into that just for a second. There's an etiquette when you're a DJ, especially when you're playing with other people, especially when it's a very large ensemble of people playing. And the biggest rule of all is it's not about you. It's really not about you because it's about the crowd. But beyond the crowd, even when you take it just behind the curtain a bit, you're all supposed to be supporting each other. And if someone needs to come off early, then you go and you fill in and you do your job and you don't freak out about it. And if an artist after you needs a little bit more time for whatever reason, yeah, you play an extra record or two until they're ready. It's all about the community. And what happened in that 10-minute gap of silence where the previous artist basically, before we even started setting up, because as you know, I bring a lot of gear with me, their track ended, they got on the microphone, said goodbye, and then just walked off the stage. And this was much to the bewilderment of beyond just us, but also to the sound techs, the entire crowd. And then we caught the flack of the crowd for 10 minutes while we were trying to put everything together while the crowd was yelling, play something. So that's not something you should ever do. And it's just disappointing because it's purely unprofessional. And that artist made it all about themselves. And that's really disappointing. So hopefully they grow up a bit and they don't pull that kind of act again. But for those in the crowd who did have to witness that, it's a bummer, and I'm sorry you had to, and hopefully you won't again. However, moving forward with other gigs, this weekend, this Saturday, on July 29th, I'm playing at Sound, and that's pretty much going to kick off a new tour. And then August 2nd, which is the Wednesday thereafter, I'm playing at La Cave, and that's in Costa Mesa, California, Orange County. And this tour it's kicking off is ultimately called the All You Need to See Tour, which is named after a new track of mine called All You Need to See. And that will be coming out on August 3rd, which is actually my birthday. I'll be 31. How did that happen? So the La Cave show on August 2nd is basically going to be an unofficial birthday party. So if you're in the SoCal area and you want to come out to that, get tickets now. It's a really small place, so it's going to be cool and intimate. And I'm actually really looking forward to that, considering I've had pretty mixed feelings about Orange County for a while. So this will be a good hurdle to get over that. Anyway, we have Cherch on the show today. And Cherch, he kind of embodies everything about sex, drugs, and rock and roll on the indie rock circuit, except they're doing it with no money at all, not like Poison, which makes it that much more awesome. Cherch is just brilliant. He's a great storyteller, great lyricist, super talented guitarist. For years, he's played in a band called the Bottom Dollars as the singer, songwriter, lead guitarist, all the above. Every year, they pack all their shit in a van and they tour the entire country just the way, kind of the way we all romanticize about doing it and then never actually do, but they actually do it. Brian's a really engaging storyteller, which really makes my job easy. So without further ado, here's Cherch.
It is warm in here.
It's just two guys.
It's a good thing we have beer.
Which is also going to get warm because you pulled it out of the fridge.
I did.
What kind of beer do we have?
Give Me IPA or Give Me Death by provided by the Stone Brewing Company. Thank you to Stone. Big thank you to Stone for providing us with this beer.
Thank you to Stone for allowing me to pay for it.
Yeah, shh. That's how you get an endorsement, dude.
No, I want them to know I paid for it.
Thank you to Stone for allowing Matt to pay for this delicious growler.
It is delicious. I am a fan of it.
One of my friends from grade school posted a thing about like, oh, I don't like Beyonce. And I was like, well, that's fucking crazy. You're a crazy person. Like, even if you don't like her music and you're a musician, the stack harmonies, like the vocals alone, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, she's an unbelievable singer.
She's unbelievable.
But her music is just over my head.
That's because it takes 100 people to write it.
Well, that's the funny thing, man. You know,
You
look
write
at
things by yourself.
I do, but you know, you look at those statistics of remember that song like "Who Runs the World, Girls" or whatever, and it had 12 writers, and there are 10 lines to the song.
Yeah.
And my immediate thought process is, how many different songs did they sample? No, but I don't think she ever really wrote much of her own music, did she?
No, but that's the whole, that whole Tin Pan Alley conversation all over again. It's like, where is the line of artistry drawn?
Right.
And
well, most great artists didn't really write their own, or historically they didn't write their own material.
no, Sam did, but Aretha didn't.
No.
James Brown did, but I don't know. I got no answer.
Whitney Houston didn't.
Nope.
No, I mean none of the divas.
And I will always love you.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. But who is she loving? She doesn't know.
Yeah, she has no idea who the song's actually for.
Right. That's kind of the beauty of that.
Maybe she did though. Maybe like her and the writer like had a moment. Just like going through this. I assume it was written by a she because it's that deep.
Right.
You know, and you know, when we try to write about love or relationships, I like to think that I'm being deep, but really I like look over it a couple months later. It's like, nah, that's surface level. Like,
Really?
damn it.
I made a really poor sketch with crayons and I couldn't stay in the lines.
And thus we have my catalog.
But yeah, there's kind of something amazing actually when you think about it. The pure songwriters, they can write these songs for, you know, say they're the woman who just broke their heart or the man who broke their heart. It doesn't matter. But the significant other who just broke their heart, no one's going to ever know because then you have the biggest pop star on earth singing that to millions upon millions upon millions of people. And it's kind of like the songwriters in a way, you know, they're of course having the last laugh, but imagine the validation in a way that this relationship that completely devastated them gave them this song that now communicates to millions of people around the world.
That's speaking of Grammys, that's Sam Smith thanking his ex at the Grammys for giving him
didn't see that.
the source material for his Grammy winning album.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he rolls up there and he's like, yeah, I'd like to thank my ex for breaking my heart and providing all the material
Yeah,
for this.
but that's cold because that's really going to hurt her. I mean, maybe she'll...
Him.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's what made it all the more beautiful is that he like is you think that he's throwing shade, but he was legitimately gracious that it all ended. And it's like, yeah, I might have ripped off Tom Petty in the process and then subsequently paid him for it, but we're good.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I know from personal experience, had I not gone through the breakup I went through a year ago, I would not be where I am in my career now.
See, the breakup that inspired all the, like, half the Meet Me Incognito dollar stuff, those songs sucked. Like, in fact, while we have a medium to talk about this, I apologize to all the people who are looking for quantifiable data for the bottom dollars and their amount of plays and stuff, but I struck the record from distribution earlier this year.
Just out of spite. Or you were too close to it.
I just hated the song Erliked so much, and I hated Pieces so much, and I just couldn't listen to them being on the record like that. And I realized that if I continued to cut shit and dropped it from 10 songs to 6, that it was a better listen.
Right.
So I struck it from distribution. All the numbers were gone. And it took out our monthly listeners too, because they listened to that record.
Of course it does, yeah.
So it's like we went from something great, like a couple, like 1,000 monthly listeners or whatever, to like 25.
Oh man, you really cut yourselves.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I don't care anymore. Like I don't care who's paying attention to numbers. Like if you know about the dollars, that you know it's a live thing anyway. So
right,
you know.
Yeah, you have to be there.
You have to, exactly. You have to be there, and you have to watch Berg like spitting on himself. Like,
don't call him the Buffalo for nothing.
Right. Hi, Berg. We're going to call you again.
But you're doing Cherch right now.
Yeah, I am.
So what's Cherch?
Truncated version of my last name.
Yeah, but no, this is why are you doing a solo spinoff?
Well, the truth behind it is I never actually intended to do a solo project. I've always been more comfortable in the vein of bands because I just have that insecurity with my art that I like the group validating it. But after Dollars Tour last year, I selfishly went home to be with my family during the victorious Cleveland Cavaliers NBA Finals. And through that, I missed New York a lot. So I just went there. And in the process of going there, a friend of mine who worked for Spotify, who was opening up the new studios, was like, hey, we need people to come in and do sessions so we can test the gear. Do you want to do a session for the Dollars? And it's like, yeah, dude. So I hit everybody up, and Mick had just had shoulder surgery, and Evan didn't feel like flying. And I wasn't about to turn down a Spotify session.
No, absolutely not.
So I just kind of like rifled through the phone, and I hit up Sean from the Dollars, Jamie from No Ice. Sean's also in No Ice. Jordan Blakely, who's this incredible drummer. She's played with Shark Muffin. She has a project called Jackalope Onassis. She plays with Stove, Kino Camino. And then I got super into the idea of many bassists, and I got to work with some homies that I've been meaning to track with for a long time. My buddy Lex Sadler, and my buddy Brady Watt. You remember Brady from our collegiate days.
That's right. Yeah.
But Brady and I have got to play live over the years through work with Quali and Javoti and stuff when we were backing up Reese. And we did this crazy D'Angelo jam with Nico Is, and that was cool at a Brooklyn Bowl show. But I just kind of called them all together and sent like the easiest 2 to 3 to 4 chord modal punk songs to them. And we never rehearsed or anything. And I didn't know this going in, but it turns out that we were the first people ever to record at the new Spotify studios.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So we roll in there, and we just kind of, it was hotter than hell. I was super broke. Like, I was still trying to find a way to get back to California.
Right.
And, it was like slices and bumming each other's cigarettes and everything. But my dude, Jamie rolls into Spotify wearing a homemade punk rock shirt, a torn tan undershirt, where he took Sharpie to the front of it and in big black letters wrote the words Bruce Springsteen. And on the back of it, he wrote Paul Westerberg. And I almost called the Cherch record Bruce Springsteen / Paul Westerberg because people always compare us to the Replacements or Springsteen and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, that's so perfect. But we cut it, and then when I got the sessions back, I was like, I wanted to track organ and really work on the vocals. So then I just kind of self-produced it for like way too long and cut half the session and released it as an AB because I'm the worst.
Yeah.
But now there are offers coming in, and it looks like I have to put like a band behind it and do it.
Right. That's what happens.
Right. It's cool.
You created your own lane.
It's bizarre because somehow I got to track it in like some of the most beautiful studios ever.
Yeah.
And then record the vocals in fucking downtown rehearsal, which makes the punk aesthetic like so good.
Right.
Because it sounds beautiful, and then like the vocals are like full of 1K and bleed, like full of it. And
is it a treated room or anything like that? Or I've never been there. I don't know.
Barely. I mean, it's carpeted, so there's that much.
Right.
Like a Coda whisker.
Yeah. And my cat leaves his hairs everywhere.
But no, in fact, when I was tracking it, I'd always do it between like 3 and 6 in the morning when everyone left.
Okay.
And
just for like So no one hears you kind of thing?
No, because my neighbors really, really love their bass rig. And when,
Gotcha.
like, my studio neighbors, when they start playing, it's like grindcore. Sometimes it's sludge or doom. And that bass rattles through the whole thing. But when everybody leaves, it's also really good to do it in the daytime because the third floor is a textile factory.
Oh, sweet.
So it's like wide open.
Right.
And the only people who are in there are pros, like, you know, people who are actually shedding because it is their day job to be a musician.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was free to create, but I can't really record vocals during the day.
Right.
I need to smoke like at least 10 spliffs before I start tracking.
And that's not going to help with the noise floor.
No.
You're just going to care a lot less.
Yeah. And I already care so little.
Right.
But yeah, so now there's 2 tracks out there. And I'm used to releasing LPs. So releasing a single was everything about this was intimidating.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's bizarre. You're putting so much stock in it.
I mean, yes and no, because I find so much of the music industry has evolved into this singles market or EP market. And long gone, I mean, unless you make a dedicated effort to make the album and that be a much grander artistic statement, doing the EP single route, it's so quick and it almost feels a lot less meaningful in a way, but at the same time, you know, more people are actually going to hear it if you do it like that.
Yeah, and you have a better chance of it being put in playlists and all the 21st century marketing and everything.
It's such a weird juxtaposition of just like artistic intent.
And you don't have to tell people what the single is.
No.
Because there's only that one.
Right. It does the marketing for you in a way.
It's like you don't even have to really even do a press release.
That's why a lot of people do. They just put out a single every month or two.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're still putting out an album every 2 years, but they're just doing it one track at a time.
And it keeps the metrics high.
It does. It keeps the social media metrics very high.
And keep
but
your
the downside
content
is every track on that album is a single.
Right.
And that's really boring, ultimately.
I agree with you. You
know?
It's funny that you say that because the second track on this A-B is, I mean, you've heard it. It's like a 9-minute, heavily political, psychedelic, like punk adventure.
It's a B-side.
It is a B-side.
It is a B-side, yeah.
And like 90% of it is just jamming on a 2-chord modal phrase.
Right.
And the best part about it is Brady is kind of the lead. Like the bass is the lead.
Cool.
And everything I'm doing with the guitar is kind of like an answer to a melody he introduces, which is so unconventional for music in general to let the bass be the anchor of the track. But like when you play with a dude like Brady, like you have to.
Right.
He puts you on that level where it's like, if you're not listening and you're not paying attention, you are so fucking in the dust.
But I mean, but at the same time, it's so good to play with people like that.
Oh yeah, dude.
I mean, it ups your game so fast.
I couldn't stay in a position for more than like 10 seconds.
No,
I was moving the whole time.
But it makes you such a stronger player.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I remember the first time we worked together and, you know, mad love and respect to Reese. I'm sorry to call you out for this one, but this was a really funny moment. We were in rehearsal at CMS in Brooklyn, and it was our first rehearsal for a round of her shows. And it was me, Berg, Brady, and Sean in the band, and Shappy's punk ass too. Should have never given him that gig, but Reese is like, yo, so the like the melody's like this, blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, and you know, I shed the tune, so these are the chords, and she's like, those aren't the right chords, and Brady's like, just a second. He puts his headphones on and he listens to the recording. You see him sounding it out. He takes his headphones off and he looks at Reese. He goes, those aren't just the chords, those are the exact voicings on the recording.
Right.
And he's like, if you don't if you don't know that, that's your song. So, yeah, those are the right chords.
You get out.
But his ear is so sharp that he was like, those aren't just the chords. Those are the exact voicings. Yeah. If you don't like it, we can change it. But like,
that is what it is.
That was the homework. And
yeah,
there's the grade.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that was really cool. So I don't know exactly what the whole Cherch thing is going to turn into. But I know we're taking it to South by. So
awesome. Great.
People of the internet world, I'll see you in Austin.
I will be in Austin too.
And we're going to drink so much beer.
Oh man. Then the last time I was in Texas, I was playing a show in Dallas, and, on my rider, when I'm doing a DJ set, I have Stone IPA.
Yeah.
Just because, it's
Stone.
It's a convenient coincidence, but I always have Stone IPA on my rider because you can get it pretty much anywhere in the States.
Yeah.
So if I put, a more obscure brewery on it, they're going to give me Stella.
Yeah.
And I don't want, so I've learned, if I put Stone IPA on the rider, it means I can get it anywhere. More or less, because their distribution goes across the entire United States.
Yeah, it's nationwide.
It's nationwide. And that way, every time I'm playing a gig, I'll have, good beer. Because I can't drink liquor when I play. I'm doing too many different things, and I get sloppy.
I'll forget everything.
And you're playing a 2-hour set, so if you're drinking during a 2-hour set of liquor, forget about it.
Yeah.
But this kind of backfired, because this club gave me, sometimes promoters, they'll see that you like beer if you put a microbrewery, on your rider.
Yeah.
So they'll actually want to give you what their like local hometown pride is, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that because I get to try things, I wouldn't even know about. The downside is this beer was 10% alcohol. And I didn't know it, because it was just coming out of pints. And I blacked out an hour and 15 minutes into my set. And I remember I put on this like Nicole Madaber, 11 and a half minute long track, which is, my track when I have to urinate.
Yeah.
So that's, you put it on and you run to the bathroom.
Man, the electronic music game, you get piss breaks in your set.
Yeah, but I'm playing for 2 hours.
Me too. But I get to pause in between my shit. You guys never get to stop.
I can't stop.
Nope.
So you just play along. You have a P track, and every DJ, unless you're doing like the EDM thing where you're not even playing, or your entire track is a P track because it's pre-recorded. But
it's about the props, man. It's about the props.
Yeah. But so I've got my P track, and I run to the bathroom, and I do my thing, and I don't remember anything past running back. I don't remember getting back on stage. I time traveled from that moment to an hour and 15 minutes later behind the club.
I actually had that exact thing happen to me when we, when Death Row Tall did a gig with Thundercat, and I think this is 2012. When he was when Thundercat was on the come up, we did SOBs together. And I always thought that they would be like stoners, but Steve, the first thing that happens when we go down there is there are 3 fucking bottles of Jameson. He's the nicest guy. He was the sweetest guy. And he's like, yeah, you guys can drink from that bottle. This one's mine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, you're really going to drink a bottle of Jameson down here, aren't you? And we got blitzed. Blitzed. Oh my God, man. And during the set, I know we did a good job because people told me the following day that it was good. But I remember being on stage and seeing this girl that I was kind of crushing on out there, and then it all went blurry. And then I kind of came back to it. They gave us all this Brazilian food in the green room. And I vaguely remember Evan and our buddy Chaz Kangas going hard as fuck on the buffet. But through the set, I was... And that's kind of the last time I really got super liquor drunk for a show.
Yeah, I can't do it.
That was kind of the end.
I can't do it. But it's fine. Do you ever... Because, I used to do... when I was with Amber, if she came to a show with me, I kind of used her as my anchor. So wherever, and she was really tall and blonde and easy to find. So, but basically she would be my anchor. So when I was DJing, I could always look up and I could find her. And that to me was like, this is my home. And I mean, really, I'm just
your North Star.
Like I'm playing to her entirely.
Yeah.
So now that, she's been gone for a while, essentially every show I play, kind of like, it's just like a mental trick for me. And it doesn't turn into anything more than this usually. But I find in the crowd, the girl I essentially want to serenade in a way. And I tailor my set almost to fit that person because it makes my set better. And it gives me a focal point.
You're like the electronic Leonard Cohen.
That's those are high stakes.
Well, I mean, fastest editing hands in the West. You're working on it.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
All you need now is to be like 6 inches taller in a bunch of tweed jackets and a fedora, and you need to smoke.
Yeah,
like not bum from me. You just need to smoke,
right?
And then talk in a really deep purr. Also, you're not Canadian, so maybe not.
No. I mean,
oh, my little brother's calling. Hold on, let's get him on.
Uh-oh.
I love hearing from the little brother.
He plays drums?
Yeah, which is funny enough. Yeah, I have a drummer, Evan, of the past 10 years now.
You can't escape it.
And my little brother is named Evan and is also ridiculous on the drums.
How old is he?
Shit.
Oh, bad big brother.
Well, no, I'm 6 years older than him. I just always forget like how old I am.
We're the same age.
Base it off my own age. I know.
Yeah.
So he's 24, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Stupid. Well, it's not in 4s, 3s, or 2s. So how am I supposed to count it?
You can. 3 sets of 2, 1 set of 4, 1 set of 2, 2 sets of 3s. We're just talking about tools. Subdivide the age.
God damn it. Once again, Matt's right. Sorry,
because I listened to a lot of prog when I was growing up.
I'm really glad we got to include that bit about Doctor Who making a Tool reference.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
It's brutal. Every time I pick up my bass, and given that bass I have that the PRS bass, and it's really modern sounding, and if you just use the bridge pickup in it, it sounds a lot like the Justin Chancellor 46 and 2-tone.
Oh, swoon.
So, and then I have, because I'm a fanatic, on the Axe Effects, I have a patch programmed that someone actually made on the user forum, and I modified it a bit. But it took essentially there's an impulse, a convolution impulse of, or actually it's a match EQ. That's what it is. And there's a match EQ of his bass tone. So, I built my own bass amp in there, and then I applied that EQ curve to it. So it is almost this very toolish kind of tone. So every time I pick up that bass guitar and I start playing a record of mine, automatically, and also it's by, being obsessed for 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're the worst fanboys. Maynard, if
I'm
you're
terrible,
listening.
Man. I got the fucking Maynard book downstairs.
I know, I saw it coming in.
It's a good read.
I was actually, so I've been putting off for absolutely no reason getting a library card here since I moved here.
Because you want to pay 5 cents every day you're late?
No, because I know I'm going to take the books on tour. I know if I do that, then I'm going to abuse it.
I'm bad, man. Amazon's my library.
Yeah. Half.com, dude. You can get it for $1 or $2. In fact, one night, I feel like I was on some sort of hallucinogen, but I know that it was really just really strong pot.
Are you sure?
Fairly certain.
Okay.
Fairly certain. Not 100%.
That's like a 60-40.
Yeah. Yeah, 60-40 is accurate.
All right.
I was hanging out with the psych rock kids, so you never know.
They put rat food.
Hey, man. Yes. Close your eyes and stick out your tongue. It's not peer pressure. It's just your turn.
And it's not cheese either.
No, but I like passed out on my couch and I woke up in a panic, realizing that someone had borrowed my copy of Hitchhiker's Guide years ago, and I didn't have one anymore. So I stoned, trippingly, whatever it was, but I was the main point is I was half asleep.
Yeah.
And I did this subconsciously.
Yeah.
Is I went on to half.com, found the cheapest paperback copy of Hitchhiker's Guide I could, put it on Prime for next day delivery.
Half.com has Prime?
Or it might have been Amazon.com.
Yeah, that's why I like Amazon.
With used, but it was used.
Yeah.
But I went on there, I ordered the fucker and passed out. And when I woke up, the shit was at my door. And I didn't even sleep in. It was like 10 a.m. But there it was, Hitchhiker's Guide. Like,
so I had a similar experience in college. It was involving alcohol. But evidently, I don't remember the action of doing this. I blame Jim Beam because that was definitely my...
those $21 handles of Beam from Blanchard's?
No, I wasn't on the handle game yet. I was doing like the $11, $12 fifth.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But
the old Matt Boyle special.
Yeah, well, that was the Matt Lang special too for a while.
I wonder why you two love each other.
Yeah,
that and
great minds.
Brown ales.
Oh, I'm not so into the brown ales these days.
Yeah, but like back in the day, that was the Boyle special.
It was. Well, you know what it was too.
And
was
red ales. Hi, Matt.
You know what it was? It was the Smutty Nose Old Brown Dog.
Oh, I love that.
That's the beer. That was the one that we were really into. And Brooklyn Brown, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And Brooklyn Brown, like basically until I moved to California, Brooklyn Brown was my favorite beer.
Yeah, agreed.
And then, now I live here and I'm so spoiled. I go to Brooklyn Brown or I go to Brooklyn Brewery, because if I play it, the times I've played it for Verboten or Output, or I've never played it, I've been to Output, but I played it for Verboten a few times, and they were right around the corner from each other, and right across the street from them was the Brooklyn Brewery.
Yep.
So every time and actually the Brooklyn Bowl is right there too.
I was going to say, man.
Right. So every time I would do a show there, the next morning, I would inevitably, because I'd play on like a Saturday, so on the Sunday, I would go right over to the Brooklyn Brewery, and, you'd buy your tokens, get the wooden tokens at the cashier, and take it in, and I'd get Brooklyn Brown, and it just it didn't have the same magic that it used to. And I'm very spoiled by living in California now for that reason.
Well, the beer game here is ridiculous.
It's the Mecca.
It's insane.
It's absolutely the Mecca.
But I remember the first time I had Brooklyn Blast. It was during our residency, the Dollars residency at Brooklyn Bowl. And everyone had told me about the Blast for a while. And it's like, oh yeah, drink one of those before your set. And you'll actually have a buzz. And I was like,
it's what, like 8%?
No, no, it's way more vicious than that. But I remember trying it for the first time and being like, this is thick and disgusting and gross. But the aftertaste was so good.
Yeah.
That the initial taste was fucking me up. But I remember this gig because my folks came in for this one. They drove from Cleveland to be there. And I don't like getting loaded in front of my folks. I smoke weed with my mom all the time. Hi, Mom. But my family doesn't really get drunk together. Because I'm not really that big of a drunk drinker, anymore. It sucks growing up. You develop taste and shit.
Yeah.
And getting drunk is an accident, not an intention.
For you.
Yeah, well, you're different.
I'm Irish.
Yeah, you can't help it. As an Italian...
I can help it. I choose to help it.
Yeah. It's my God-given duty to enable this habit. Now, as I get older, I smoke more and more pot. Because as an Italian, you're going to suffer from clinical depression. It's part of our genes.
No, as a musician, you're going to suffer from clinical depression.
As an Italian musician, you're doubly fucked. Don't forget the Jew I have in me too. That's just a ball
so
of
much guilt. Yeah,
I'm like, God. See, I'm guilty about professing my guilt.
don't own it.
Don't own it.
Always own it.
But I remember this was the gig where Berg called the Toto cover. And the way that we picked our songs for the Brooklyn Bowl residency is we put all our shit into an Excel document. Every song we've ever covered, every song, every B-side, everything that was ever recorded. We didn't want to do any repeats, and we didn't. And we had a fucking fantasy draft. Do you know what Evan's first pick was? Not an original song, Africa by Toto.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's the first thing he picked for his week. And that's a really difficult song to do it well. I mean, anyone can really pull off a bar band cover. I remember we did it in Czech because there's that high falsetto note at the end, and I didn't get it in rehearsal at all. And I was really pressured during this residency because Shappy had just stolen our fucking van. And
do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Your
maybe.
guitarist.
So when we came off of tour in 2014, right when we just released our first LP, the Meet Me Incognito, we were all really proud of it. We were really excited. I had been letting Shappy stay for free on my couch in my loft for like a year and a half. Then we moved to the spot on Grove Street where he decided he just wasn't going to pay rent the whole time. The whole time. Like literally he never paid a month's rent ever. And you know, Brooklyn poverty musicians, I'm not going to like chastise him for that move because I know a lot of people who've attempted to withhold because of slumlordy conditions. And to be fair, we didn't have hot water in that apartment for 4 fucking months. So if he took the legal route of withholding, he would have been entitled to not just that. I'm not going to tell anybody. But the long and the short of it is I ended up, and you know me, I never really earned that much cash in New York. I was pretty much month to month when I was there. But I guess Berg owed him like $40-some, something ridiculous. He owed me like $5,000. And when you really add everything up over that time, it was a really substantial amount of money. But what happened is I drove the van to the grocery store, to the Associated Market on Nick, right by Maria Hernandez, and the fucking battery died right when I pulled next to the grocery store. The whole car just shut off. I was still in drive. So I sent an email out to the band, and I was like, hey guys, so if anyone needs the TARDIS this weekend, nope. Battery's dead.
The TARDIS is your van.
Yeah. So I'll replace the battery on Monday. I was driving it. It's my fault for whatever reason.
Right.
I'll swap the battery out on Monday. So on Monday, I go to get the car. Car's fucking gone. So I send an email because I sent everyone the location of the car. It's like, yeah, it's right by the Associated, but it's dead. And Shappy fucking salvaged the car. Okay? What makes this extra ridiculous is he'd already sent an exit email to the band saying like, hey guys, you know, like we have to go our separate ways now. Like, you know, I want this out of my art and you want this. So, you know, sorry, but I'm going to be moving on. And we're all like, cool, that's fine. Anyways, you've been bored for the entire tour and you've kind of been phoning it in. And he's a great player, but when he doesn't care, he really,
he doesn't.
He really doesn't care. Like he already plays some pretty predictable stuff, but when he's phoning it in, you might as well be listening to like a Berkeley Press tape playing like, this is the blues pentatonic scale. Send me my degree already.
They sent
God damn it.
They sent me mine.
Well, La-di-da. I don't have mine.
I gave it to my mom. I don't have it.
If they send it to me, it just turn into rolling papers.
Well, I mean, between you and your mom,
right? Shout out to Mama Cherch.
They might have gotten it, and you just never saw it.
It's like, Mom, what happened to my degree? Really? Were you out of those ABDs? Like, I know. But anyways, back to Shappy stealing our van. When he did that exit email, the car was in his name out of title, well as a crowdsourced vehicle.
Right.
So all of us go, all right, that's cool. You want to leave? You have to sign the car over to one of us. And sure as shit, he signed that title over to me, and I had the title in my hand, signed, and the keys, and an insurance policy.
Sure.
And he salvaged the car with a second title. So we're talking like, I know I'm talking about all this right now, and it's like actual like felony level crimes.
Well, it's a nickname, so you're all right.
It is Grand Theft Auto. Grand larceny, sub Grand Theft Auto. We met with a detective about it. And woo. Well, hey, I hate cops, but like when someone steals your car, what the fuck are you going to do? And it wasn't even a nice car, but the reason I was spiteful about it is because we just put a $900 heater core in the fucker. Like the car might have been worth $1,200-$1,300. It was an old Chevy G20.
Yeah.
But that heater core was brand new.
Right.
And we toured without heat for a while, like huddled in sleeping bags.
Oh my God, dude. Oh.
Didn't need to do that. Could have just pooled some gig money and got a heater core, but no, we're going to tough it out.
Yeah. Because that's what you do.
So, but yeah, he explained the whole fucking thing in an email chain. Yeah. Because I'm still owed blank for like a month's insurance payment. I sold the car to recoup my losses. It's like, asshole, you owe me like 2 years rent. Like years, not months, not half of a month, not one time, like years, dude. Like you can't recoup a minimal expense that the guy who makes the most money in the band, like come on, dude.
I take it he never made it back into the band.
I saw him once after that.
Really?
At Afropunk. And Evan and I were at Afropunk. We were hanging out with our buddy Doug. And I see Shappy. And the best thing, I can blow his spot up on this shit. He was dating this awesome girl who was super supportive. Well, guess, he wasn't with her at Afropunk. He was with some other chick. And like really all up on it. And he looks at me and Evan, and this dude just bolts across the lawn. like this girl didn't exist. She's just like, whoop.
That's fucking fear right there.
And a dead ass sprint, like we were going to do anything, like Afropunk's neutral ground. No one's starting shit at Afropunk. We got to see D'Angelo that night. Like, no one's starting a fight. We want him to show up. Like, we want D'Angelo to show up.
Everyone's going to be making love that night.
That's right, baby. That's right. And he straight up ran away from us across the field.
That's funny.
And that's the last time I saw him, though I always get notifications about how he follows us on the internet still, which is ridiculous. I mean, I feel like if you commit a felony, you should probably want to distance yourself, but we're not pressing charges because his mom asked us not to, and Jan was really kind to us.
Well, that's respectable.
But that's the story. That's the objective story. Like I can't even like throw my anger into it because I'm still pissed about it. The other day I was like, I really just want to like knock him one really good for stealing his homie's cars. Like one car. He stole one car. But yeah, back to the residency, I felt really pressured because he just stolen the car, and Craig from Turquoise was our lead guitarist for that residency, and he's a fucking virtuoso. And here we are with the first song called for that gig being Africa.
Oh, that's funny.
But he slayed, like he crushed it so hard. But in Czech, I finally hit that falsetto note for the first time in my life.
No kidding.
And I thought that meant I could do it again.
Yeah.
But I drank a whole bunch of Brooklyn Blast. And Victor, the monitor engineer, screamed into the talkback when I was doing it that he was like, yeah, dude, you got it. And I was really excited about it because he's like, yeah. And then I listened back to the playback from the show. I didn't get it.
No.
And it must have sounded really bad in the house. Fuck it.
But there's so much lenience when you're playing live.
Oh, there is.
Because, I mean, it's not being recorded. I mean, you'll only hear it if it's recorded.
Yeah.
So,
It's being experienced.
If you're flat on one note or a couple notes, unless it's really obnoxious, the crowd isn't going to know. And especially when you're doing rock and stuff like that, where it can be a little bit more gritty, you can get away with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And with us, it's so loud that no one's paying attention to pitch. So it's really just a point of pride.
Right.
But we've always been really, really staunch about the vocals being good.
Yeah.
Because none of us are particularly good vocalists.
Yeah, but ultimately the vocals are the most important if you're writing a song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like when I write a song, I never intend it to be something. I always write the lyrics without the music. Mm-hmm. And then
once you have to try to get it to fit.
Well, no, I look at the lyrics and I can hear the music.
Yeah.
That it's like I already knew what I was doing before I did it, which is good because I never do anything that complicated anymore. I used to. Live, we do complicated stuff, but when I'm writing, I just kind of try to tell a story adequately.
Yeah.
Yeah. And luckily, I understand myself at this point, so I can look at like a body of text and be like, oh, I could break this down like this or like this.
Do you feel that your most successful songs were the quickest ones written?
Absolutely.
So weird how that works.
Absolutely.
Man. I know, because for me, when I did Consider This a year ago, I wrote all the lyrics to that song almost word for word. I edited maybe 3 words total, but I wrote everything in the fucking notes program on my iPhone.
Yep.
3 minutes before I went to sleep. And I did it all just in 5 minutes total.
Yeah. In fact, thinking back to pretty much any song that I like, it was a moment of impulse that I captured.
Yeah.
And if I'm really trying to take 11 on the new Cherch record, that song was written 3 times before there was any relevant truth to it.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like capturing a bystander's position of witnessing an act of police brutality.
That would be inspiring.
Well,
certainly unsettling.
It was a tough one because it initially was a 2-part song where I split the vignettes into the person walking and then the actual traffic stop gone wrong.
Okay.
And we recorded it with Aod on the album that's still in limbo. As a 2-parter.
Aod of Passion Pit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good homie. I'm working on it, buddy. I promise I'm working on it. But we recorded it in a 2-part thing. And the lyrics for 11 actually were in the first part of this song, which was kind of like a slow build. And it was a bit too much of an opus. And I really liked the riff for the second part. So when we were touring with the Dollars last year, and one by one, another act of police brutality would be reported on, and there'd be, primary footage of it. What really shook me with kind of getting my shit together on it was the death of Sandra Bland. Because it was so similar to the story I was telling.
Right.
Now, obviously, Sandra didn't have any drugs on her, and she was on her way to a job interview and did absolutely nothing wrong. But the traffic stop that I'm referencing, there's no real definitive answer if the cop planted the drugs on the suspect or if the suspect actually had a vaporizer and an eighth. Not that pot or paraphernalia would ever be grounds for someone to lose their life, ever. But I wrote that song in about 5 minutes because I was furious. And I tried to move it around to be a different thing. But in the end, after like a year and a half, it just went back to exactly the way it was when I wrote it.
Yep.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That it took me a year and a half to realize that I was right the first time. I shouldn't have split it up into two, and that part two needed the lyrics from part one. And then I realized that there was a 11 beat polyrhythm in it.
Nice.
Yeah, right. Which sadly is the amount of time it took NYPD to strangle Eric Garner to death. And when we were protesting and we shut down One Police Plaza, the chant was 1, I can't breathe, 2, I can't breathe, all the way to 11. And every time I go to a protest, I record the audio of my favorite or most impactful protest chants.
Sure.
So the audio that's sampled on 11 is recorded live from me marching.
That's really interesting.
And the person screaming, I can't breathe, is Berg, who said he wouldn't be on the record. him and like 3,000 people, but Evan's obviously marching
right
next to me.
Proximity,
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm too busy to hit these sessions. Like, oh, I wish I could, but I can't come through. I got too much to do. And sure as shit, Berg ended up on the record because he stood up for what he believes in. Isn't that about a bitch?
Ain't that a bitch right there?
Having character.
Oh,
I know.
terrible.
Terrible, Berg. Terrible.
So what's going on now?
Like right now?
No. Like you're in LA. You're no longer in New York. You're doing this. You know, you put out your record. What's next?
Well, the Dollars are going to go on tour through the spring, and Cherch is going to be showcasing at South by Southwest.
Awesome.
And I think ultimately my goal would be to start production on a long player for Cherch.
Yeah.
And try to find a way to get that second Dollars record out there.
Yeah.
So for now, we're just going to hit the road and try to bring the new content out there.
When do you guys leave?
That's up in the air right now, but it looks like the dead middle of April.
Okay.
And I like to book tours from the center and then
just branch out from there.
Yeah. And that way I can control the arrival and departure and kind of refine things. So it's not like you start off with a tour, like say on like the 13th of a month, but you can't get the 15th or the 16th.
And just to clarify, you are managing the band. You're booking all the gigs for your band. You are doing everything yourself.
I wear many hats.
Right. Okay.
Mostly beanies.
Yeah. Yours right now says Famous in Bushwick.
Yeah, so that's my buddy Jay's clothing line.
I appreciate that because Highland Park is essentially the Bushwick of LA.
That's right.
Which is why I love it.
Shout out to the hi-hat. I'm waiting on that email, Britt.
More importantly, shout out to the Hermosillo because I go there 3 times a week.
That's right. I love that bar. That girl never called me back.
Yeah. I mean,
sad, Cherch.
You put your heart on the line.
I know, man.
And like most of them, she stepped on it.
Oh.
You're not that heartbroken.
No, look at me. But yeah, I'm doing all the management. I've always kind of done that. We had a really cool interview. In fact, I'll openly say this: the proudest moment of my life, being a New York transplant to a native New Yorker, was when we got a feature interview in the Village Voice.
I had to figure you were going to say The Voice.
Oh my God, man. Oh my God. When I saw it and
no, that's the cool newspaper.
oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
You pick that shit up in like Astor Place, you know, like out of the fucking little newsstand thing you pull out.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
free. Oh my God. Yeah.
If I'm having a bad day, I just pull up the link to remind myself. I don't reread it, but I pull up the link to remind myself that it's real.
Yeah.
That really happened. And it's just so wild that because the Dollars was an accident in the first place.
Yeah.
We just wanted to make a rock record because it'd been a while since we cut an album. And then we put out this EP. And to be fair, it was produced really honestly. So there was no fluff behind it. There weren't a lot of dubs. Record.
Yeah.
Super raw. I didn't even know how to sing yet.
Right.
Like, man, listening back to that, I think the vocals are horrendous, but it's not up to me. It was when I was tracking, but
not really, because you're in the moment.
Yeah, true. But the fact that all of this happened because we just wanted to make some rock and roll out of nowhere, that's rad because we were really impoverished at the time, and that provided an avenue for us to get in the car. And being a poor working class kid from Cleveland, I'd never even seen California like that. Sure. I'd never traveled the country like that. And my folks could attest to it is I was geeking the whole first tour. I was geeking out. I was like, Mom, you'll never believe fucking Crater Lake. Holy shit. Oh, the Rocky Mountains are actually that big. And she's like, yeah, no shit. I've been to Colorado. Like,
Thanks, Mom.
Great job, Brian. You used your eyes. You put your glasses on. Great job. But back to the DIY thing, that whole Village Voice article was because we were DIY.
Yeah.
Because we were like actually like Berkeley music business people that didn't work for the industry. We worked for ourselves and would subsequently tell people to eat shit when they gave us a bad offer. And
but people love that.
They love it.
It's like just
you
the
get
brutal
respect from it.
The brutal honesty. You get respect, and you get real fans.
Yeah, you do. You do. And what's funny is I don't want to be contentious, but we have great friends in New York, but New Yorkers understand, and you understand that if you're in New York, part of it is being able to say no to going out if you want to stay.
Yeah.
That you have to work. You really have to grind yourself to death.
I got to do my thing right now.
Yeah. So our friends never really came to see the Dollars.
Yeah.
They went to the Death Row shows because the Death Row shows were parties, but they never really went to see the Dollars. And so our fans were always strangers.
The thing is, most gigs are work.
Yeah.
You know, they're not a party. They're straight up work.
No, that was really cool about Death Row is it was so different than any other show. We straight up, this is a rumor, because Berg and I were both tripping. So we
Literally?
can't confirm this. Yeah, we were tripping.
On what?
Acid.
Nice.
So Broke from Death Row, it really motivated artsy individual. He liked throwing these flash mob shows where he'd send out a Facebook event like 4 hours beforehand to everybody and be like, meet us on the Brooklyn Bridge at midnight. Dress in neon, wear face paint, bring glow sticks, weird shit like that. And they worked because Broke is like a magnet for people. Everyone loves him because he's great. But one night we did a flash mob show on the Brooklyn Bridge and there was a fucking ton of people. This is Death Row, clarifying for listeners. And apparently Anne Hathaway was tripping with us.
No way.
But I was spun, and so was everybody else. So I can't be the person that says yes for sure. But that's a pretty strong sentiment that echoed through everyone. And maybe we could look through the pictures and try to find her.
You should.
But that was crazy, man. But that's why Death Row shows were just such a different thing than any other band. And I think that's why the short-lived nature of Death Row Tull adds to its enigma. That we reunited this past year at the Bowery Ballroom. and that was really cool as a benefit for the victims of the Pulse shooting. It was rad. And speaking of Noise, we were talking about Jamie earlier.
Yeah.
We had Noise, No Ice come through and do a Bowie set. This great punk band from Brooklyn, Thick, came through. One of my favorites, Shilpa Ray, she did a set too. And fuck, I'm forgetting someone. Oh, Pink Mexico, Bob. That's how it was crazy. But that bill was incredible. But we did reunite Death Row Tall, the original lineup this year.
Nice.
Once.
You should just do it annually.
I would be so into that.
Just make it a special event every year. And pick the weirdest day. Like pick, June 22nd. That doesn't have significance,
I'm trying to think. The show was in July of last year, so you didn't hit it dead on, but that's...
I'm just saying pick a random summer date, and that's just
Death Row Day.
Yeah, no matter what.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I
That's
like
a
the
really
name
good
Death
idea.
Row Day, too.
Death Row Day. El Dia del Death Row.
Because it sounds like Tupac would release on it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yo, can we talk about K-Day for a second?
I don't know who that is.
K-Day is 93.5 FM here in Los Angeles. It's the old school hip hop station.
Let me correct. I don't know what that is.
So I have to riff on K-Day because, like, when I drive around and I have nothing to listen to or I don't feel like setting up Bluetooth, I just... real quick on K-Day, you should play more Regulators, though. Like, I'm wondering where that's at. Like, you dropped Juicy for me, and...
But no Warren G.
No, it's few and far between. And, like, they always drop the Ice Cube, and Boys in the Hood plays on the hour, man. And I got nothing but respect and love for K-Day. But today, you guys did a mix of Money Trees into Backseat Freestyle into some other tune that was really dope. I'm just requesting some more Warren G and Kendrick, please, K-Day. I love you.
I think that's a reasonable request.
Yeah. More Kendrick. Always more Kendrick. Kendrick, if you're listening to this and you need a guitar player,
call Brian.
Sup. Cherch loves you. You know what's cool is his publicist's name is Cherch.
Really?
Yeah. And through Google Alerts, I got a thing about Cherch, something Cherch Entertainment, and I went to look it up. And sure as shit, he's the publicist for Top Dog.
That's your in right there.
Right. I'm just going to go snatch that credentials badge real quick.
Yeah. I mean, you know how to hustle. That's not going to be a hard thing for you.
K-Dot, I love you, man.
Listen to me shred on my Les Paul.
Yeah. To Pimp a Butterfly changed my life.
Last question.
Probably, yeah.
What's your favorite guitar right now?
Right now, still my 59 Les Paul.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, that's going to be a different answer because a new endorsement kicks in.
Oh. Shh. Does Gibson need... Oh, it's not exclusive.
No. My deal with Gibson is loaner based, so it's not exclusive. But Gibson knows that I love them very, very, very much.
You should love a 59 Les Paul.
Oh, my God.
There is nothing not to love about them.
It's my one and only. That's why I'll be single forever, man.
I know, man.
Nothing.
They'll never let you down.
No woman.
They'll never leave
dog,
you.
No man. No nothing will ever equate the love that I have for that guitar.
You can cuddle them in bed.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty heavy. It gives me a dead arm, but I've done it.
Yeah.
But I would say my other favorite guitar that I've played thus far, and it was really cool rolling around NAMM. My first NAMM this year, probably my last one.
Doubtful.
No, doubtful. I'll probably
get you in there next year if you want.
Hell yeah.
I go every year.
No, I liked it a lot. I can't top riding behind Stevie Wonder on an escalator. That was tight.
Yeah. No, it's always funny when he's there every year because there's just giant crowd of people chasing him the entire time. And there's something cruel about that also.
And I watched Billy Idol spit inside.
I believe that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's very Billy Idol.
But I love the St. Vincent guitar. I love it.
Who makes it?
Ernie Ball Music Man, which normally I don't vibe with that product line. Like, I hate the Stingray. Ernie Ball, you hear me? I hate the Stingray. I hate it.
You know, I don't hate the Stingray because the Stingray was used on 46 and 2.
Yeah, that's fine and dandy, but I'm not going to use that ever. But you're right, though. The tone on that, like, the Stingray has produced some great tone. Yeah. But it's like the Stratocaster of basses. I know, and you can't make new tone.
You know, I hate Strats, but I need a Strat.
Yeah. Well, that's the dilemma, is like,
I don't like how they play, but
you need one.
I need the neck pickup of a Strat. Yeah. And I mean, my PRS, like the 7-string, that one...
But it won't get the Strat tone.
It's almost there, because even in the humbucker, like when I pull the tone pot, it'll split the coils, and you know, and then I'm having a single coil, but the scale length is 25 as opposed to 25 and a half, so it's a little bit different, and it's a 7-string, and it's mahogany. I mean, it's a different guitar.
It is a different guitar. And my beef with Strats is not the way they sound or the way that they've been used. My beef with Strats is the same beef that I have with the Stingray, is that you can't make a new sound. There is nothing you can do with that guitar through an amplifier, regardless of pairing, that you can do to expand upon the sound, which is okay. It's okay.
Right.
Because that creates a niche, and it's necessary.
And I mean, that classic sound of, like, you know, just the explosions in the sky, neck pickup on a Strat with a delay pedal in front of it through a Fender Twin.
Dude, George Harrison.
Oh my God.
George Harrison, like Nuff said, middle pickup George Harrison. And, you know, Jeff Beck still plays one, so.
Oh yeah, lots of people still play them. It's amazing how many metal bands still play them too.
I know. It's the bite.
Yeah.
It's the bite.
I just see it, and I'm like, I just see noise.
Yeah, I just kind of wish people would play a telly.
Oh no, I hate tellies.
Yeah, but I love the Clash, so.
Yeah, I just hate tellies. I really do. Every time.
Of course you hate tellies. Well, listen to your music.
It's
you
nothing
ever
but
use
twang.
a telly? Yeah.
I hate it.
I know.
I need humbuckers.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I need 9 strings. Tellies don't really come like that.
It's like, Fender, if you're listening, Matt Lang needs an endorsement, a full endorsement. He needs a 9-string Telecaster, and he needs it now.
Without the lace pickup.
Oh, God, I hate lace centers. And my dad and I got in an argument about The Who. I love The Who.
Yeah.
No disrespect for The Who, but The Who are dead. Whatever is in that shell of a body that Pete assumes nowadays, I mean, you're talking about a guy who rocked an SG through high watts, playing a lace sensor pickup Strat through a solid state Fender electroacoustic amp. Mm-hmm. No. No.
There's so much no in there.
Oh my God. Like, everything I grew up idolizing about that whole rock and roll tone that Pete created, just, it's not like it's just dead. It's like, it's dead, and he mercilessly tortured it to the point where it's like a disfigured, unrecognizable, this is damning me ever being able to. Who cares? I was never going to meet The Who anyways.
Who?
Right?
Yeah.
And Roger gets mad at people for smoking weed during their shows, I guess. I've been reading.
That wouldn't work for you.
No. No, I wouldn't last long in that environment. That's toxic for me.
Last thing.
Yeah.
What are you listening to right now?
Right now, I really like the new Ron Gallo record.
Okay.
I also love the new Anderson .Paak record. Both of them. The NX Worries, No Worries, however you say that. The Rick and Morty sample on that, Anderson. That shit is hot, dude. That's amazing. I also really love the new record from No Ice, Come On Feel the Noise. It's fucking awesome. If you like the Replacements or the Clash or the Lemonheads, like, dude, Jamie and Sean and Gwen and everyone, they really crushed it on that. And what else am I listening to right now? I mean, just the standard, like, I've been really obsessed with Rocket to Russia all over again recently by the Ramones.
Okay.
I've been spinning that record a lot. And I've dedicated myself to trying to figure out all of Marquee Moon, both guitar parts.
No kidding. Cool.
That's been really fun for me. That and the fact that Prince is now distributed digitally and I'm not relegated to the records that I own personally, that's been really fun. But,
yeah, that makes sense.
But straight up, that new Ron Gallo record, Heavy Meta, amazing. And yeah.
Coda wanted to say hello.
See, Coda got in on the podcast.
He got in.
Perfect.
But
yeah,
timing.
that Anderson record, so sick.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, dude.
Love you, Matt.
Let's go get a beer at the Hermosillo.
Yeah. Hooray.
So that was Cherch. Check out his solo career as well as his band, The Bottom Dollars. So if you're in California and you're in the LA area this weekend, come to Sound on July 29th. I'm doing the headlining slot there. And then next Wednesday, August 2nd, do my unofficial birthday party at La Cave in Costa Mesa. So that all said, have a great week, you guys.